Hello everyone, my name is Mackenzie Pluskovic and I'm the Vacant Property Planner for the Department of City Planning. In this presentation, the City of Pittsburgh will provide an overview of its Adopt a Lot program, administered by the Department of City Planning. The Adopt a Lot program was created to encourage the transformation of vacant neighborhood lots into vibrant food, rain, and flower gardens. Through this program, gardeners are able to adopt unused city-owned properties for community gardens or for personal use. Gardeners are also able to sell the produce or flowers that they grow, and urban agriculture is allowable by zoning anywhere in the City of Pittsburgh. Vacant lot projects can help to manage stormwater, provide greater access to fresh food, and beautify our neighborhoods. Gardens provide the opportunity to gather and connect with your neighbors and to turn blighted properties into assets for your community. Adopt a Lot also serves as an educational opportunity for those wanting to learn more about the environment and how to grow food. As urban farming serves to address food insecurity, this program provides the land access needed for gardeners to support themselves with the food they grow. Gardens are also beneficial in their ability to reduce heat island effects and remediate polluted soil. The Adopt a Lot program was created in 2015 as an implementation of the Department of City Planning's Open Space Plan, which was completed in 2013. It was developed as a strategy to combat the negative impacts of blight and vacancy, and since its inception, at least 80 garden projects have been implemented throughout the City of Pittsburgh. There are a few resources available on the city's website which serve as helpful reference guides for the program. The Vacant Lot Toolkit Resource Guide answers all questions related to process and outlines the requirements and restrictions associated with adopting city-owned property through this program. The Vacant Lot Toolkit Resource Guide answers all questions related to process and outlines the requirements and restrictions associated with adopting city-owned property through this program. The Vacant Lot Toolkit Policy Guide serves to clarify city processes and policies for the interim use of city-owned vacant property and makes recommendations for how the toolkit might expand in the future. There are two diagrams within the Vacant Lot Toolkit which visually present the process steps for utilizing the Adopt a Lot program via a lease or license agreement. In this presentation, we will briefly review these process steps and answer any questions you may have. There are three different types of agreements that gardeners can choose from when adopting a lot. A license agreement has the shortest term, good for one growing season, and only allows for food or flower gardens. Only temporary fencing and raised beds on these sites are permitted, and the sale of produce is not permitted, though some gardeners find this option attractive because an insurance policy is not required. A lease agreement has an initial term of 1 year, with the option to renew for an additional 1 to 3 years after successful completion of the first year. Any garden type is permitted with a lease, though a liability insurance policy is required. A market stand lease agreement functions the same as the general lease, but permits sales on the lot up to $10,000. No employees are permitted, and a $25 application fee is required for this lease type. Prior to submitting a property inquiry to the city regarding the availability of a parcel for adoption, it is best to first refer to lotstolove.org, as well as the Allegheny County Real Estate Portal, in order to locate potential sites and confirm that the vacant parcels are city-owned. Only city-owned lots may be adopted through the Adopt a Lot program. When seeking a viable site for a garden, it is important to keep the site conditions in mind. Parcels that are steeply sloped, having a grade of over 25%, are not currently permitted to be adopted through the program. Landslide-prone parcels are also not available for adoption at this time. Some vacant lots may be contaminated, requiring soil remediation in order for gardening to be permitted. The size, shape, sun exposure, and access to water are also important characteristics to consider before selecting your garden site. Upon receiving a property inquiry, the Adopt a Lot program manager will conduct an initial review to ensure that the proposed use of the site is in alignment with the permitted uses: food, rain, or flower gardening. The current ownership of the parcel will also be verified through the Allegheny County Real Estate Portal to confirm that the site is city-owned. Each parcel will also be reviewed in order to ensure that it is not landslide-prone in a steeply sloped area or currently legislated greenway. If the parcels meet the program requirements and criteria, the status of the properties will then be submitted to the city's real estate division for review and approval, as many properties cannot be adopted while in the disposition process. If the garden site is approved by the Real Estate Division for use, the Department of City Planning will mail notification to all adjacent property owners to inform them of the project. If the city receives objections to the project during the notification period, a public meeting may be required in order for the project to be presented to the community. After the meeting, the city will work with the applicant to refine the project if needed or assist in locating a new site. Prior to requesting a soil test, the applicant must meet with the program manager for a site visit. Once the site visit has been conducted, the applicant may request soil testing from Allegheny County Conservation District, UMass, or Penn State Extension. ACCD offers soil testing for free and conducts the test on behalf of the applicant. For soil testing completed by UMass or Penn State Extension, the applicant must obtain soil samples from the site, and a small fee is required. If the Allegheny County Conservation District is utilized for soil testing, a right of entry agreement is not required. If the applicant utilizes UMass or Penn State Extension, the Department of City Planning will grant applicants a one-day right of entry agreement to allow for site access to complete the soil testing. Following testing, the soil report must indicate lead levels below 1,000 parts per million in order to be adopted through this program. For those sites with lead levels of 0 to 150 parts per million, they may be used without restriction. Lead levels of 151 to 400 parts per million require the clean hands policy of washing hands immediately after gardening. Paths must also be covered with grass or mulch to a depth of 3 to 4 inches. Lead levels between 401 and 1,000 parts per million require 8 to 10 inch lined raised beds containing clean soil for planting vegetables. All areas not covered with raised beds must be grass covered or covered with a geotextile barrier and topped with 3 to 4 inches of mulch. No digging is permitted on the lot. Sites exceeding lead levels of 1,000 parts per million cannot be adopted unless the soil is remediated. Once the site has been fully vetted and the soil test is complete, the gardener must submit an application which includes a brief project narrative, site photos, a site plan, a budget for the garden, a maintenance plan, and insurance if a lease agreement. Permitted improvements include raised beds, sheds, pavilions, cold frames, trellises, fencing, benches, service paving, edging, rain barrels, tires, little libraries, and birdhouses. Signs, play equipment, art, memorials, fire pits, and stages are not permitted. Once the application is complete, it will be submitted with a lease or license agreement to the city's law department for review and circulated for signature. After the agreement has been executed and the project installed, the program manager will conduct a site visit inspection to ensure that it complies with the application submission. There are thousands of vacant properties in the city of Pittsburgh. Feel free to inquire about a potential site for your garden by submitting an Adopt-A-Lot intake form via our website at pittsburghpa.gov/DCP/form. If you have any questions about the program, please contact the city at oss@pittsburghpa.gov. Thank you.